Good morning and welcome to this TaxCalc webinar. Today we're going to be looking at working smarter, working flexible and getting cloud connected. So my name is Matthew Courtney and I'll be leading you through the webinar today. I know we've got some very hot topics at the moment, so we're going to go through those. But also if you have any questions throughout the webinar, we'll be going through a Q&A session at the end. So feel free to type those up into the box and we'll get back to you on those. So let's get started. So a brief overview of what we're going to be going through today. So first of all, we're going to go through a quick and brief TaxCalc history. Then we're going to touch on the TaxCalc CloudConnect and how that can work for your practice. A little look into TaxCalc today and what we're up to at the moment, just to give you an idea. And finally, a demonstration of the software. We'll end, as I mentioned, with a Q&A session. So our history, TaxCalc has a long history stretching back over 30 years, originally owned by Which. You may know them for software and hardware reviews online. TaxCalc was then purchased in 2006 by our current CEO, Tracy Ebden-Poole. TaxCalc was originally designed around a step-by-step process, simply for asking questions and computing an overall tax liability. However, if we fast forward that to 2020, we now have 9,000 accountancy practices using the TaxCalc software. Now, that's an astounding figure. To add to that, our offices 2 years ago were a third of the size they are today. We are really growing astronomically. Our offering is now a full practice suite. We've got everything from practice management to your company's secretarial services and everything in between. So we're going to go on then to talk a little bit about the TaxCalc CloudConnect. Now, this is a particularly poignant topic to be discussing at the moment due to the coronavirus and people having to work from home. Now, you may have heard today on the news, Donald Trump has banned travel to all of a European mainland. Also, the UK government is looking at moving our current coronavirus status from containment to delay. Delay meaning that social distancing and restrictions to public gatherings may be actioned. So other companies that have done things so far, we've got Apple, who have been asking employees to work from home, and they've actually closed all of their stores in Italy with no date for an opening. A UK member of parliament has been taken sick with the coronavirus. So now is really the perfect time to talk about the CloudConnect. Even if you don't feel like you're that involved with the coronavirus, it's always worth considering being able to have that ability to leave the office and work from home or work from anywhere, whether that be in your office, at home, or at a beach in a very distant country, well away from the virus. If you did take that to be something you're interested in. So why use the CloudConnect then? Well, you can work smarter. You can work flexibly, whether together in the office or entirely remotely. Now, the great thing about the CloudConnect is we work differently to most other cloud services. They offer a browser solution, which is very simply going onto a web page and what have you, and then you would do your software filings on there. Whereas the TaxCalc CloudConnect, it uses the software locally installed, and it's simply the database in the cloud. Now, the key reason that is of such importance is because when it's just the database in the cloud, you're only transmitting kilobits of data. This means that you can work on the CloudConnect using just a 3G mobile hotspot. So it actually is work anywhere. You don't need to worry about the government bringing in these 5G or these super fast broadband lines, because you've got the ability to do it with your phone, with your iPhone 3S back from 2012. You could really do it on anything. The other real benefit is the ability to transform your practice into a cloud-enabled smart business with TaxCalc's fully integrated practice suite and the CloudConnect. So It's not just the one piece. It's not just the TaxCalc tax returns that are in the cloud. It's your whole software, so you can work on anything from home. We've now partnered up with Smart Vault, so we've also got the ability for document exchange and document storage, so you don't need to worry about having those servers storing all your data internally. And we've also got the e-sign function, which means you can send everything to your clients remotely. So even if they're on holiday or if they're taking a break or they don't want to come and see you, they can still sign those documents, get them back to you, and you can get them filed on time. So TaxCalc's CloudConnect, free yourself from the office, keep your data completely safe and secure. Now, just to touch on this a little bit, we run a TLS security service. This is the same security the government use themselves, so it's a 256-bit encrypted system. You can connect your team from anywhere or with an internet connection. Remotely manage your practice and maintain continuity for your staff. Now, this is something which is really important for a practice with the times as they are. So you may have to separate where you're working and what have you, but if you've got visibility as your practice owner and running that practice, if you've got visibility of everything, how much easier is that? Rather than using Excel spreadsheets or what have you, or alternate software solutions, you've got it all in one place just to jump in and you can see exactly what's going on. So the continuity of your staff is definitely something we're going to look into later on. We've got our Practice Manager Plus now available. With some of the key features in that are the dashboard settings, which we've got, and we'll go into that in a bit more detail. The other point to mention here is the cloud convenience with desktop performance. So as mentioned, we aren't running a browser, we are still a desktop service. So the fantastic other point about that is, think about every time you go onto a browser, you're waiting for the images to load, you're waiting for everything in the background to load. As I mentioned, with the database just being the only thing in the cloud, that just means it's able to operate a lot faster, kilobits of information rather than megabits. So TaxCalc today, this is quite a large map you'll probably be able to see. So there is an awful lot to cover. We really have taken the software to the next chapter as such. So from here you can see that we do have the complete compliance service products. That's including the tax return production. We've got all of the additions to that, like the what if planner, your dividend database. You've also got your VAT returns included in there and your company accounts. You've got the practice management features, so that's including the time recording, practice management itself. You've also got workflows, dashboards, which we went into, and we'll look into all of this in a lot more detail. Communication management features, so you've got mail merge as a feature of that. You've also got the electronic signatures, the document management, the envelope management, and you've also got the ability to encrypt passwords on documents. And finally, the practice compliance feature, so GDPR and checklists, GDPR general compliance, really. We cover an awful lot, and we'll have a look into that. And then AML, that's a huge talking point at the moment with the government unveiling their new plans. So we've got a solution. We've got a fantastic looking solution, one of which is the AML identity checking and the other of which is the AML Center. We won't be able to look into the AML identity checking today, but we run a service with Equifax, and that's doing all of your checks, so your persons of significant importance and what have you. So that's doing an awful lot for you there. And then we've got the AML Center itself, which is for your internal processes, but also for your tracking of clients. So we'll go into that in a bit more information. And all of that can then be wrapped in the cloud, meaning you can access it from absolutely anywhere. So that's the end of the slideshow. And what we're going to do now is just jump into the software itself. So if you are a current user of TaxCalc, or if you've been to Accountancy, there is no doubt that you have seen this screen. However, there is a screen here called the dashboard, which you may not have seen. Now, the great thing about dashboard is it gives you the visibility, so you can see everything from one place. So as you can see here, I've got the tasks which are assigned to me. I've also got the task assigned to me broken down by the type of task it is and the status that it is currently in. I can see Samantha's tasks, And then what we've got the ability to do here is also jump into different dashboards. So the dashboard isn't something that you have to specify to yourself. If you've got the Practice Manager Plus, you can actually look over the whole practice at particular tasks. So if you imagine the tax manager for a practice, we could jump into the practice management side of things, and we can actually see a more overview board here. So we can see how many clients we've got and what have you. We can also see the type of work that's currently being worked on. The really nice part about some of these widgets is that we can do this, just click edit, and then we can drop these down and we can change these around to make them specific to your practice. Once you've designed the dashboard, that will then be saved and you can use that over and over. We're also bringing in some really nice new areas here. So these are infographic kind of widgets. So this is the first one, which has just got counts against the status, but it gives you a nice clear overview so you can see whereabouts you are in the flow of things. We can add new widgets to this dashboard as well. So as you can see here, we've got all of the widgets. We've got 14 currently available. As I mentioned, this list is being added to all of the time. And they're just brilliant. They really are. You can see everything on the practice level. So the first thing we're going to jump into today is the Practice Manager, and that's within this side section here. Now, one of the really nice things about TaxCalc is the way that the software is designed. So everything is in a simple step format. So on the left-hand side here, you can see basically a menu. And this is true for every part of the software. You've always got this as a key touch point. This allows you to mine into particular areas and also to see exactly where you need to be within a return, perhaps, or within the accounts production. So we're going to start by just going into the client themselves, just to show you what our Practice Manager can now hold in terms of data. So I've just jumped into Astra Accounts Limited. And here we go. So first of all, we've got the client summary board. This is basically everything on page 1 of the tax return and a bit of extra information on top of that. We've then got the basic company information. So this is where you can start to change stuff around. One of the really nice features, if we were to make any changes here, we would automatically get a notification that our company's house forms need to be updated. So what I'll do is I'll just continue through here. We've got the tax information, company's house information. We've actually got no SIC code set for this company, so let's set one now. There we go. We've got the business information. So the business information, this is how we have decided to deal with the MTD VAT filing. So each business that a company or individual takes hold of, they will have their own business set up within here. So as you can see, this one is a trading business and it is not signed up at the moment to MTD. That's definitely should be. So we can flick that on here. That's absolutely fine. And everything is kept like that so that the software can understand how that return is taking place. So it's picking out from the VAT registration dates and what have you. And it's also got the VAT return periods here. Go on to contact information. Now you can save multiple bits of contact information, so any different addresses for the company. You can also save different contacts for that company and separate email addresses alongside that. It's really easy to swap and change, so we can just add them in here and add any notes that are referenceable. Bank details for that practice. And into the engagement. Now this is a section that I'm really looking forward to show you today. So we've done quite a bit of work on this. As you can see, we've got the ability to now pop their bookkeeping software in here and the method of payment. Now something that's really nice is that when we're actually first onboarding this customer, we can fill this client out as a contact and keep them as a prospect for the time being. And then when you do convert them to a customer or a client, you will have all the information saved there ready to go. Consent management. So if we create a new consent action, this is all part of GDPR. So once you've spoken with that client, you can then decide, well, they would then decide what type of marketing they're happy to receive from yourself. And you can save that all in here so you've got a firm audit trail. The services rendered. Now, if I go into manage services here, you can see that we are working on this client for their annual accounts, for their tax return and for their VAT return. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop an expected fee in for the VAT return and no work in progress fee, but then I can also pick a job template. Now we'll go into this a little bit more into the Practice Manager Plus area, but this is just a brief overview. So we're assigning basically a job to this type of client. So I'm going to put the VAT return as a monthly VAT return in there and save that through. As you can see, that's automatically added and that will start the workflow progress. Anti-money laundering. This is again part of the AML Center, and from here what we can do is we can create a record. So this is an identification. We can put in a reference number to this and we'll create that. And then what it will do is it will actually open up the AML Center for us here. Now what this does is it goes through all the data protection and what have you, and the general information about that client. So if we go into here, you can see that we can actually import from the Company's House Sync Wizard. This is a really nice feature because what it's doing is it's looking back to Company's House and it's understanding the information that they've got, and it's passing it back to you so you can then update your records. Now this isn't just a one-off thing that you can do with your clients. You can do this every time you go into action something for the client, or any time that you're looking at that client record in any way. The other really nice part about it is if you've got a limited company which is already set up and you're looking to bring them on as a client, you can pull in a lot of the information before having that initial conversation with them. Okay, so just looking through here, we've got the client information. So we can just choose the address here, use that one. As you can see, we'll just go through here. We've then got the identity evidence. So what you would then do is enter information which you've gathered in relation to that client, and change the tick boxes. So if we add a type of a registration number for the certificate of incorporation, we could add that in here. The date of incorporation, which would be through here. And whether you've got a certified copy of their incorporation documents, certificate of incorporation, you could add that through there, and that could also be saved within the Smart Vault document manager. Save that in, so you just continue through these exactly like that. So it's all really simple questions, and when you come through to the end, you will then get a review area for the hub administrator. You can do your enhanced due diligence through here. And then what the software will do is it will give you a report based on that client and their AML kind of, your obligations have been covered, and the software will understand how much of a risk they are for you. Now that's only a recommendation from us. That isn't, something that you have to take to heart. We do recommend that you look over everything and ensure that it meets up with your professional body. So there you go, you can see that's saved in. We can then continue through. So we've got the verification record and other events. We've got the suspicious activity reporting. So any suspicious activity that you notice to do with that client, you can put in here. Relationships, so this could be directors, this could be a partner, absolutely anything can be added through here, and you can create that relationship really easily and save that in. We've then got the share capital screen. So if we go into here, you can see you can add the share capital that is that's for that business, the shareholders of that capital. And then we're back into the practice management. So these are the active work. As I mentioned, we started that VAT return as a piece of active work earlier on. That's already picked up on the dates that are required and what have you. So a lot of that's already been done for us, and we can see the time that has been logged with things as well. The security for this client. Now this is quite a nice little feature. So if you wanted to say keep yourself on the software, but you didn't want your employees seeing your private information, you could add a password to your account. There are other ways to restrict the persons that employees can see, the clients which employees can get into, and that's within the admin window. We're not going to go into that too much today because that's an awful large topic, but there is a great deal of things that you can restrict, and you can just ensure that the practice is working how you want. And finally, just notes. So just to keep notes of any communications with that client, and then we'll finish that off. As you can see here, it's just picked up an error on the VAT registration period box. So we click on that, we can change that, but we'll click finish and we'll close that off. Perfect. So that's a client. We've shown you the Companies House Sync Wizard. We've shown you a little bit about the AML Center there. Now we're going to just jump into the admin area just to show you the PM Plus. So first of all, I'm going to go into the applications here, and then we're going to double click on the PM Plus. And now I'm going to just talk to you a little bit about how we can check progress of tasks, how we can create a job, how we can create tasks and what have you. So if we click on work item status, you can see that we've already put in a few templates for people, but these aren't specifically things that you need to abide by. You can create your own. We haven't restricted it in any way. We really want your practice workflow to be designed by yourself. So then we go into the job templates. So you can see that we've got a few templates which we supply for you. So that's 3 for VAT, 2 for tax, 1 for self-assessment and 1 for corporation tax, and then 1 for the annual accounts. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into this one and duplicate it. And I'm just going to show you a little bit about the job. So as you can see, this at the moment is just a random job template. So once you've designed it, you'll be able to assign it to any of your clients. You can do it as and when you onboard them. You can assign them in bulk if you like. So it's however best suits your practice. Now it does take a couple of days to set these systems up, but that's the same with every practice management solution. Don't worry about it. As soon as you've done it, it's going to save you time. So as you can see here, we've got the deadline being met by the statutory deadline, which is held within the client record. We've got the due date to be that statutory deadline, and how long before that statutory deadline you wish to actually start. You can also give yourself a reminder. So if you wanted to be reminded 2 days before your start date, you could do that here. And you can set yourself a date reminder for the date reminder. So a recurrence on that task, obviously with every compliance job, with the majority of compliance jobs at least, there is going to be a recurrence. So whether that be a tax return which you're doing every year, or come MTD, a tax return you're doing every quarter for individuals, or for accounts production, it will be an annual thing. You can set that recurrence here. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to abide by that recurrence. So if your client wanted to change their filing date for accounts, you could do that within the software. There's absolutely no problem. You can override this, and then it would set a new recurrence based on the new date that you've started those accounts. So that's absolutely fine. And then we've got the tasks which are constituting that job. So one thing I'd like to mention here is if you've previously used tasks within TaxCalc, we have taken your comments on board. People said they felt quite staggered in what you could do because you couldn't just activate a wash of tasks to take you through the whole job. So what we've done now is we've created a job. This holds all of the tasks within it. So with each of these tasks, you can then mine into it. And you can edit it. And then what this is doing is this is showing us what exactly that task is looking for. So this is the send the year end request for the client's documents. And all you've got to do is set up your due date, your reminders and what have you. Now, one of the really, really nice things is that we've got this actions area here. Now, this brings the automation into the practice management. So once that job's been completed by, let's say, Samantha, because she was on the system earlier as one of the employees, once that job's been completed by Samantha, what we can do is we can say that upon that task completion, we want the assignee to then be myself. So I want to receive that job once Sam has completed her part. That means I can then double check it, and I can reassign that to the next person in the trail. So it's giving you that visibility. It's giving you the ability to keep track of things and monitor progress, which is really important. If we were to get to the stage in this country where everyone is having to work from home, being able to keep track of your practice is so important, and this has got the ability to do that. So unlike with Excel or things like that, where yes, you've got visibility, but if people forget to update it and what have you, there can be issues. In here we can set the reminders, so we can automatically keep track of everything. So I'm just going to go down to the end here into the summary, and then you've got a summary of what exactly that task is looking for. Now, one of the really nice things is based on the completion date. It will change the completion date of the next job if you like. So if you wanted to set 5 days to a job, if you worked in that way, you could do that. That'd be absolutely fine, and it would build it off the finish date of the previous job. Or you could have fixed dates, which are fixed on all of the tasks. So it depends how you work. Again, we're not restricting you in that capability. Okay, so just on to a little bit about the services offered themselves. So as you can see here, we've got the annual account. So we could add a new service. Now that might be, let's say, an annual bookkeeping reconciliation. We'll save that in, and then we can edit that. We can assign that to, well, let's actually assign that to companies, because it wouldn't really make sense to have that for individuals. And we'll say that is going to use that job template. And then what you can do is when you set the client up, you can set that services offered. As you saw within the client when we were setting the client up, you can set that as a statutory job, and it will start to track the progress. Now I'm going to jump straight back into here, and these jobs will now be appearing in this list. Obviously it's quite long, so I won't go hunting to find them, but they will be there. And then another great thing is we are able to now double click on these little tasks, and it will take us into the job. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong bit of the task there. Okay, so we're just going to close some of these windows just because we've got quite a bit open now. And we are going to start by going into accounts production, and we're going to do this for a client which I've been working on a lot with recently. We're going to go to Cloud Adaptive Solutions, and we're going to go for the current year. Now I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the accounts production. We're not going to go into a crazy amount of details. Our accounts production works slightly differently to some of our competitors. So ours is automatically IXBRL tagged. This means that it's automatically picking up on the notes that are required and the disclosures which are required. So what it's doing is it's basically really quickly, once you've put the trial balance in, it's doing an awful lot of the work for you. Another really great feature is that we've got the check and finish at the end, and that's picking out on anything that's been missed. So we'll just start to go through it here. As you can see, we've got the standard company information. This is all pulled through from the client hub. As I say, it's an all-in-one integrated database. It's one whole source of truth. We've got the officers. Okay, we've got the accounting standards. Now, these will automatically carry through from the prior year. Again, saving you time. Company status, accounts presentation, statement preferences, trading profit or loss, the chart of accounts. Now, a nice little feature, despite the fact that it is a fixed chart of accounts due to the IXBRL tagging, we can make small changes. So if we had a particular type of sales that the client wanted to research in more detail, or they wanted it to be shown when you send over the accounts for them, you can do that. So we can edit these within this window here and change the title of those. And the report terms. So again, these are fixed. But if you did have a particular client that you need to make small changes for, that would be absolutely fine. Okay, into the postings. So as you can see here, we've got a batch which has been imported. This is a trial balance import. And what we can do is if I go new template batch, so we can have a look at last year's trial balance and we can pull those through, and those are all the templates. The other nice thing is that within the batch posting, we can actually import. It's not just from a CSV. We can now take from Free Agent, we can take from Xero, we can take from QuickBooks. We've also got two-way integration with QuickBooks. So that means that the codes are not only mapped when they come in, but we can also send them back to QuickBooks and they're mapped there as well. So just continuing through then. So if we just clicked on this one, we just said import trial balance. I'll just show you. I'm not connected to the internet, so I won't be able to show you the import process. But we'll go into the notes. We'll edit the notes. So as you can see, the little green ticks here, these are notes that have been pulled through from the previous, from the trial balance posting. The report, so if I just ignore that very quickly, I'm going to jump into the full financial statements. Now, as you can see, nice and quick to load. Despite that being quite a long trial balance. Obviously, it's also got comparatives in there. So we can go through these here. One really nice feature is that despite the fact that, we do come up with these templates for you, you can change these. So if you did have a preference to how your reports are shown and your disclosures and notes within there, you could then change that on bulk within admin as a template. Or if you preferred, you could change it for just this one client, and then it would be remembered for the following period. We'll just go into the check and finish now, and as you can see, we've got these errors coming up. Really nice and quick to amend these errors. So if I just show you with this one, and we'll just save and close. And as you can see, that's 2 errors removed already. So errors in red and orange are things that will have the accounts either turned down by Company's House. Ones in green are more of an FYI, green or blue, it depends how you see it. They're an FYI, just be aware of this for this client. Actually, I'll just pop that open again, because what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to take that exact set of accounts and take it into the tax return. So if we go into here, we can then open that exact thing in the tax return. We'll go new return. We want to import the accounts. Yes, we'll create that. We'll continue through. And what we'll do is we're going to review computation in the check and finish area. And as you can see, we've already got some bits pulled through here. So it's coming through with some errors. But the CT600 in general, we've got the simple step version. And as we mentioned earlier, we've got these bits all down the left-hand side, which makes it really easy to work through the return. So this is the simple step. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to import those accounts from accounts production. And straight away, we've generated our net corporation tax liability. Now with the SA100, if you've got a self-assessment client with their own business, you can do the exact same thing. You can set them up some accounts, you can import those accounts, and it will carry through figures for you into the self-assessment return. And if we went into here, we can then see what it's pulled through and how it's pulled it through, and you can see what kind of things that's looking at within the accounts themselves. Now, the final thing we're going to touch on today is we're going to touch on the VAT filer and the Company's House forms. So just in regards to the VAT filer, there's been a little bit of worry recently that HMRC are no longer going to accept spreadsheets as imports. So for those of you that have heard these rumors out there, I would say don't worry at all. That's entirely not the case. The case is actually they're not going to accept copy and pasted accounts. So if you copy and paste your accounts currently into your bridging solution, that is what's not being allowed going forward. It's not the fact that you are taking it from a spreadsheet. So our solution is a bridging solution. It is taking it from a spreadsheet, but it's using an import procedure. This import procedure is still permitted. And HMRC are yet to have given a deadline on when that's going to be revoked. So for the time being, don't worry. Our bridging solution is absolutely fine. And you can continue using that if you're not currently using bookkeeping software for your clients. On to the Companies House forms, and then we'll go into a few questions. So just Companies House forms, it's really simple. It's really nice to use. So I just show you the CS01 form. This one's actually been filed. So what I'll do is I'll just create a CS01. As you can see, it's the first one that comes up. But there are an awful lot of forms here to choose from. Actually, the majority of forms that can be filed online can be done through the software. So we'll open that up. And there we go. So as with the rest of the software and everything in the software, it's completely integrated. So it autofills for you on all of these areas. Again, saving masses of time and just allowing a smooth process. So you've just got to check these things. Once you're happy, just go through to the check and finish, and you file that report to Companies House, and it's that easy. And as with all of our modules, we've got a simple step filing form which autofills for you on company details, autofills for you here, and all of this can be set within admin. So really nice and easy to use. So we have recently been doing quite a bit of work on the TaxCalc training series. So as you can see here, I've got video 01 loaded up. Now this training series is absolutely brilliant. It's entirely free for you to have a look at. And it really does explore all areas of the software. So we've got 11 videos at the moment, but we are adding to this all the time. And I know we've already started the audit of the videos. So we're updating them already to the latest release. And as and when we do have updates coming out, we are always making new videos. This is just to help you use the software and to make things easier for you. So if you go into Vimeo and type in TaxCalc, you'll be able to find that all on here. What we are going to be doing is we're going to be doing a TaxCalc web page, which has these videos all included as standard, and that is on its way. I know that's currently under development. I'm going to leave it there for the day. If anything comes up, let us know. Thank you very much for joining us.